When it was first released in 2006, LEGO Star Wars 2: The Original Trilogy was a critical and commercial success, building on the formula established in the first game and expanding it by complicating the mechanics and level design. Where LEGO Star Wars 1 had many linear rooms with little to interact with, the follow-up filled the levels with much more complicated puzzles and action sequences for the player to experience. And while intricate level design adds much more depth to a casual playthrough, for speedrunners it usually just means more obstacles to overcome. But not always. Today we are going to look at one such case in the Dagobah level of The Empire Strikes Back, and see how the level's layout facilitated one of the game's largest sequence breaks. For the most part, Dagobah is pretty similar between LEGO Star Wars 2 and the complete saga, so we will be discussing both versions of the level throughout this video. The level starts right after Luke and R2-D2 exit the X-Wing after crashing into the swamp. In the first room, the player must navigate around a circular pond and raise a bridge. In the second, you cross a lake by stepping on a series of buttons before approaching Yoda's hut and triggering a cutscene. In the cutscene, Yoda takes Luke to a new room to conduct his Jedi training. In the training room, the player must have Yoda ride on their back and learn to use the Force by constructing a series of bridges to hop from island to island, before using some mushrooms to get R2 up to the panel to exit the room. After leaving this room, Luke now has access to the Force ability. Next, you cross a small stream by raising a platform with R2 and enter a cave for a confrontation against Phantom Darth Vader. After defeating the apparition, the player must cross a final bridge and destroy a barrier before approaching Luke's submerged X-Wing. Raising the vehicle from the swamp completes the level, as Luke leaves Dagobah to go confront the real Vader on Bespin. From a casual perspective, there are a lot of puzzles in this level. There is a lot of platforming, a lot of enemy wildlife to fight, and a lot of bridges to build. And when speedrunner Lexos did the first LEGO Star Wars 2 Any% run in January 2014, the level was played the intended way without skipping anything. However, the next several runs of the game took advantage of a few small time saves. In February 2014, IM veterans realized that all the buttons in Room 2 did not need to be pressed to advance to Yoda's hut, and only pressed the first 3 before hovering across the rest of the lake in his new world record. In August of that year, Joseph H. Tobin Jr. set a new Any% record that implemented another 2 skips in Dagobah. He realized that Room 1 could be completed using only R2-D2 by flying from this rock over the barrier, and that the platform after the training room could be skipped with a well-spaced jump from Yoda. The early runs of the complete saga did none of these skips, until SM Kirky set a world record in September of 2015 that utilized updated Dagobah strats. At this point, most of the puzzles up to the Jedi training room were skipped, but that room was still the most time-consuming puzzle sequence of the level, and would certainly benefit from a skip. And it didn't take long until one was found. In February of 2016, Folk33 got the first LEGO Star Wars 2 world record with a new skip known as Mushroom Skip. By using the sloped surface next to the mushrooms at the end of the room, the player could gain enough height to get on top of them without needing to force them down. As a result, the room could be completed using only R2, skipping all of the required bridge building and platforming. While this saved 30 seconds over the casual strat, it was still a pretty long process, as R2's slow movement speed forced the room to still take almost 45 seconds to complete. This same skip was implemented in the complete saga later that year in world records set by runner TSG. With these skips in the run, it seemed like there was not much left that could be skipped in the level. And aside from this LEGO Star Wars 2 exclusive skip first implemented by Prince in 2018 that skipped all of the buttons in Room 2 completely, this was the state of Dagobah for many years after Mushroom Skip's discovery. Most of the puzzles in each of the rooms were already skipped aside from the Vader fight in the cave and the last room, both of which seemed to be impossible to get around. At this point, the level was looking almost as linear as the levels from the prequels in the original game, far from the complexity of most other levels in the original trilogy. Which leaves us with the question, could Dagobah really even be considered all that intricate? Well, there's one detail that we've overlooked so far. At first glance, it would seem that the level is composed of 6 rooms. But it's actually only 5 rooms. This room 4 between the training room and the cave is actually the same room as room 2, just further on past Yoda's hut. You can even backtrack to the hut after completing the training if you wanted to. The only thing stopping a player from completely bypassing the training room is the large cutscene trigger that blocks the path until the room is completed. To get a better understanding of this obstacle, let's take a look at a rendering of Room 2's map file. This is the file Dagobah B in the Complete Saga's source code. Over here is where the player spawns when they first enter the room. They cross this lake to reach Yoda's hut, but if you continue past the rock, you will soon approach the exit of the training room here, before crossing this stream with Yoda and entering the cave. Going back to the area near Yoda's hut, it would seem like it wouldn't be too difficult to cross this room by entering the swamp on the left with R2, but that changes when you add the triggers into the scene. This trigger zone surrounding Yoda's hut is the one normally used to get into the training room, but there's a second, much larger trigger zone behind it that also takes the player there. This second trigger is the tricky one to avoid. In order to completely skip entering the training room, the player would need to make it from one side of the trigger to the other without touching it at all. The trigger is tall and extends back quite a bit, which makes going over it almost impossible. It also extends under the swamp and under the kill plane beneath it, which rules out going under it. The trigger extends far out of bounds to both the left and the right, so without some unforeseen out of bounds swamp movement with R2, going around it also seemed impossible. If you couldn't go over, under, or around the trigger, what other options does that leave for a skip? Well, what about going through it? Although the player character isn't able to enter the cutscene trigger, an uncontrolled companion can go through just fine without it triggering. Luke can push R2 slightly through the trigger near the swamp with blaster fire, but the droid doesn't go far enough to get to the other side before R2's AI tries to return to Luke. Using this knowledge, Complete Saga runner Senor went on a mission to crack the training room skip in March of 2019. While messing with this AI behavior, Senor realized that Luke can get a jump off of this ledge to get on top of this rock, and while showing this off on his livestream, something unexpected happened.
I'm scared to go any more forward. Oh wait, oh okay, go left, left. I heard him go in the water. Go left. Wait. Now. Wait, holy sh**. No, disconnect player 1. Player 2's in. Oh my fucking god, I did it. Let's go, boys. Sub 3's a thing. Sub 3's a thing.
Let's take a closer look at that. Since R2 tries to get back to Luke if he's too far away, when Luke gets on top of this rock, R2 tries to find a way to path to him. The only way available is through the swamp and up onto the land back on the other side. Conveniently, this takes R2 straight through into the other side of the trigger. From this point, player 2 can be dropped in and player 1 will drop out, allowing Luke to now pass through the trigger and continue onwards. This trick completely skips the 50-second cutscene of meeting Yoda and the 45-second training room. But there are 2 caveats. First, in order for R2's AI to behave correctly, every button in the first half of the room needs to be pressed, otherwise the AI will think that that part of the room hasn't been completed yet and will not move. Second, since Yoda is never acquired, the skip at the end of this room on the way to the cave can't be done, so the platform has to be extended so that Luke can get across and open the door. After entering the cave, the game gives the player Yoda and Jedi Luke, meaning the rest of the level can be completed the same as before. After all the changes to this segment of the level, this new skip, known commonly as Hut Skip, saved 75 seconds over the way it was played previously, and worked in both LEGO Star Wars 2 and the Complete Saga. Prior to the discovery of Hut Skip, the world record for the Complete Saga was at a 3:03:08. Although there were certainly improvements to be made to this time, taking off over 3 minutes seemed like a daunting task. But, as Senor alluded to after finding the skip,
Sub 3's a thing! Sub 3's a thing!
Hut Skip's discovery changed that from a possibility to a certainty, and soon after, the race for a sub 3 hour time commenced. But the road wasn't as smooth as you might think. Dagobah was the 34th of 36 levels played in the complete saga any percent, putting the time save almost at the end of the run, and after it was found, it was still fairly easy to mess up HUD skip. The trick is a one try, meaning that it can only be attempted one time, since if you accidentally touch the trigger, you get sent to the training room and can't get any of the time save. The most common mistake in the early days of the trick was dropping out Luke too late, since the camera would pull him into the trigger after R2 was dropped in. Furthermore, if Luke slid off the rock after R2 was called in, he would get stuck under the rock, forcing the player to have to attempt the trick again. Several sub-3 pace runs died to HUD skip in the week following its discovery, as top runners Senor and Super competed to be the first to break the barrier.
Yes. 302.11. One more guy. Oh, I'm not gonna get it. I'll take it. That's really good.
Go. What? What's the delay? 301.09. Damn it! And it's all because I choked out about so hard. Oh, alright, we're about to finish the whole. And time.
You've been 18.
Yep. 3 hours, 18 seconds.
3 hours 36.
Finally, after many PBs and near misses, Senor completed the first LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga any percent speedrun in under 3 hours.
258.50?
Later the same evening, Super got the second sub 3 hour run with a 2:59.04. LEGO Star Wars 2 did not have much activity during the first half of 2019, but Prince set a new world record of 1:49.57 later that summer utilizing HUD skip.
There it is! There's the sub 150. Finally! Holy cow! 3 seconds! Beat it by 3 seconds!
HUD skip was the first of many large discoveries in 2019, and helped usher in a new era for both LEGO Star Wars 2 and the Complete Saga speedrunning. As the year progressed, both games saw new levels of optimization as the records continued to lower. Games that were at one point relatively simplistic continued to become more and more complex, as the skill ceiling rose and more runners started to compete for their turn at the top. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to be notified when my next video releases. Until next time, have an excellent day.